For decades, the name Steven Seagal meant one thing: brutal, on-screen justice. He built a legacy as Hollywood's most authentic martial arts icon, a legitimate 7th Dan black belt in Aikido who wasn't just playing a role, he was the real deal. His name became a benchmark for a certain kind of terrifying, real-world skill. But what if I told you his most dangerous legacy isn't in his movies, it's in his blood? This is the story of how Steven Seagal's daughter is stepping out of his shadow and into the punishing world of professional wrestling. And the one question everyone is asking, will he be proud? To really get this story, you have to appreciate the massive shadow cast by her parents. On one side, you've got Steven Seagal. In the late 80s and early 90s, he was a cultural phenomenon. In an era of muscle-bound heroes, Seagal's brand was different. It felt real. His fight scenes were less like choreography and more like lethal demonstrations. Movies like Above the Law, Hard to Kill, and the blockbuster Under Siege cemented his status as a top-tier action hero who lived his gimmick. People saw a real-life warrior on screen, and that creates an almost impossible standard for anyone who shares his name, especially in the world of combat. On the other side of this genetic coin is Arissa LeBrock, a star who defined a totally different kind of 80s power. She was the literal dream woman in Weird Science and the star of The Woman in Red, an icon of beauty, glamour, and charisma. She was a world-famous model who made the jump to acting, captivating everyone with this potent mix of strength and charm. Now, imagine being born at the intersection of those two legacies. The world expects a warrior from your father's side and star quality from your mother's. It's a wild combination of expectations, a gilded cage where everyone thinks they have you figured out before you even know yourself. This was the complicated world Arissa LeBrock was born into. For a long time, it looked like Arissa was charting a path much closer to her mother's. Raised away from the chaos of Hollywood on a ranch, she had a shot at a life outside the blinding spotlight. Her first career wasn't acting or martial arts. It was modeling. And she was good at it, carving out a space for herself as a prominent plus-size model and landing on magazine covers. Her journey was even part of the 2017 reality series Growing Up Supermodel, which showed her navigating the fashion world but also laid bare the complex dynamics of her famous family. The show made one thing clear: she was fighting to be seen for who she was, not just who she was. But under the surface, a different passion was brewing. Quietly, Arissa was dedicating herself to the grueling world of Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu. The mat is a place of brutal honesty. It doesn't care about your last name, only your skill. It was here that the Seagal side of her legacy began to emerge. She didn't just train. She became a dedicated and medal-winning competitor at tournaments. This dedication to a legit combat sport, mixed with her modeling background, made her a unique prospect. So in December 2019, she got the call. An invitation to a WWE tryout at their world-class performance center in Orlando. For a man like Steven Seagal, who built his career on real combat, what would he think of his daughter stepping into the world of sports entertainment? It's a complex dynamic, one where she has had to forge her own path while still living under the weight of his name. This decision, to trade the runway for the wrestling ring, was her boldest step yet in defining herself. That WWE tryout was her shot to prove she belonged. With her BJJ background, she had a legitimate athletic foundation many prospects kill for. She was ready to embrace the grind and prove every doubter wrong. And then disaster struck. The exact details are private, but the outcome was catastrophic. A severe, career-threatening injury during or shortly after the tryout brought her wrestling ambitions to a screeching halt. Imagine that. You've made the life-altering decision to chase an impossible dream. You're on the doorstep of making it happen, and then your own body betrays you. The dream gets snatched away, not for lack of talent, but because of a physical failure. The world was watching to see if Steven Seagal's daughter had what it took, and instead, they saw her dream seemingly die before it began. This led to what Arissa has described as a descent into a dark place. The physical recovery is painful, but the psychological toll can be so much worse, filled with the terrifying thought that your one shot is gone forever. How does a father, a martial arts master, react to that? Is it a sign to stop, a warning that the path is too dangerous? Or is it a test of that warrior spirit? In that dark place, when the dream felt over, a phone call changed everything. The call came from Dustin Rhodes, a wrestling legend who understands legacy better than almost anyone. As the son of the iconic American Dream Dusty Rhodes, Dustin knows the crushing pressure of a famous last name. He knows what it's like to have to fight to create your own identity. Rhodes offered Arissa a second chance, an invitation to train at his Rhodes Wrestling Academy. This wasn't just another training gig. It was a lifeline from someone who got it. Under Rhodes' mentorship, she began the meticulous process of truly becoming a wrestler. She worked with trainers to rebuild her body, getting her ducks in a row, as Dustin put it. Her BJJ background was no longer just an interesting fact. It became the bedrock of her in-ring style. Dustin taught her how to translate that knowledge of grappling and submissions into the unique language of pro wrestling. This is a dynamic a purist like Steven Seagal would have to respect. He knows the importance of a true sensei. In Dustin Rhodes, Arissa found hers. This wasn't about coasting on a name. This was about putting in the work and rebuilding from the ground up. Rhodes himself has been effusive in his praise, predicting, "Pretty soon the whole world's going to be talking about Arissa LeBrock." This was her rebirth, forged in sweat and dedication. After months of transformative training, her moment of truth arrived. In March 2023, Arissa LeBrock made her official in-ring debut at a Rhodes Wrestling Academy student showcase. It wasn't in a massive WWE arena, but in an intimate setting where the crowd understood the blood, sweat, and tears that went into that one moment. As she stepped through the ropes, she wasn't just a model or a celebrity's daughter. She was a survivor. She was finally a professional wrestler. From the opening bell, it was clear this was something different. Arissa didn't move like a model playing wrestler. She moved like a predator. Her style wasn't flashy. It was brutally efficient. Drawing heavily on her martial arts background, she displayed a powerful, submission-based defense that impressed those in attendance. This wasn't just a performance. It was a statement. Her style is a direct nod to her father's legacy, but with her own spin. It blends the legitimacy of her BJJ training with the powerful showmanship of pro wrestling. She's not just using her father's name. She's honoring his legacy in her own way, in her own arena. So back to the big question. After seeing his daughter overcome a career-ending injury, rebuild herself under a respected master, and step into the ring with a style built on legitimate combat skill, how could Steven Seagal not be proud? The verdict is in. Arissa LeBrock isn't riding her father's coattails. She's building a new legacy, one wristlock at a time. Arissa LeBrock's journey was never going to be easy. A famous name isn't a free pass. Sometimes it's just a heavier burden. Her path was marked by a dream-crushing injury that would have broken most people. Yet, she refused to let her story end there. Guided by a wrestling legend, she transformed herself from Steven Seagal's daughter into Arissa LeBrock, the professional wrestler. Her story proves that the greatest legacies aren't just inherited, they are forged. The question is no longer if she belongs, but where she goes from here. Will she find her way back to the global stage of WWE to finish the story that began at that fateful tryout, or will she join her mentor Dustin Rhodes in AEW? What do you think? Does Arissa's journey make the Seagal legacy even more impressive? Let us know your thoughts in the comments below. And if you enjoyed this story, make sure to like and subscribe for more deep dives into the world of wrestling.